Hello and welcome back. Let's continue our discussion. So let's say we wanted to select the first two rows and all the columns from our data frame 1 object. How can we do that? So we can say data frame 1 dot lag and pass the first 2 days, 2 dates, so 10 22 2016 colon 10/23 2016 10/23 2016 comma colon. So for the rows, grab from 10/22 to 10/23, that's the first two rows, comma column means, and from the columns grab everything. So let's run it. So we get just the first two rows and all the columns. And if we want to grab, let's say, the first 3 rows and then the first 3 columns A, B, C, how can we do it? We can say data frame 1 dot lag, then we pass for our rows 10/22 2016 2016. So we want the first 3 rows, right? So we pass up to 10/24 2016 2016. That's for the rows. And for the columns, we want the first 3 columns, A, B, and C. So we say grab everything from column A up to column C. So remember, with the lag method, the beginning and the end are also included. Let's run it. So we have the first 3 rows and the first 3 columns. Now let's create another data frame and show you more examples of indexing by label. Let's say pd dot data frame, and let's use numpy's random dot randn, and let's create a 7x4 data frame. 7x4. Then index, we'll set it to be, we'll create index from a list of alphabets A through G, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. That's 7. And columns, let's create it from a list of alphabets A through D, A, B, C, and D. And let's save this in a variable called data frame. Now if we call our data frame, we have a 7x4. Let's say we want to select the first 3 rows and all my columns from this data frame. How can we do it? So data frame dot lag, and then we pass our column names. We pass the indexes that we want. So in this case, we want indexes the first 3 rows, right? So A through C. And then for our columns, we put colon. It means grab everything from beginning to the end. Okay, so we have 3 rows and all the columns. Similarly, instead of this, I could have also said, let me show you another method. So data frame dot lack, and then I can pass the first 3 rows, the index of the first 3 rows as a list. So I could have also said A, B, and C, comma for the columns. For our columns, grab everything. I could have also said that and get the same result. Okay, let's look at another example. Let's say we want to grab the last 3 rows, E, F, and G, and the last 3 columns, B, C, and D. How can we do that? So we have our data frame, and then we call the lack method, and then we pass. We want the last 3 rows, E, F, and G. So we can simply say E, grab everything from E downwards and everything else. That means E, F, G in this case, colon, and then comma. Now for my columns, what do I want? I want columns B, C, D, the last 3 columns. So I can say B through D. Let's run this. So we have the last 3 rows, E, F, G, and the last 3 columns from our data frame, B, C, and D. Right? I could have also said, so E colon means grab E and everything else. Then B, I could have also left it like that. So grab columns B and all the columns after B, which means B, C, and D. That will give me the same result as well. So you could do it either ways. Okay, let's see another example. What if I only want to select the last row? What if I want to select just this last row, row G? How could I do that? So we can do that by using the lack method. So we have our data frame dot lack, and then we pass the row index, which is G, data frame dot lack G, and run it. So we have the A, B, C, D column values for our index G. So if we go up here, or let's call our data frame. So here column G, row G for our index G, the A value is 0.17, that's what we have here. B, the B value for our index G is negative 2.43, that's what we have here, and we have the C and D values down here. And we can also check whether this values for our specific row is greater than or equal to a given number. One thing is we can check whether that value is greater than or equal to the median or so on. For our example, let's see if the value for our column G, the A, B, C, D values for our row G is, let's say, greater than 1. We can simply say that, and then we'll get a Boolean value. So let's run it. So we get all false, 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 false. Let's see A, B, C, D. Okay, if we make it greater than 0, we'll get one of the results to be true. So the first one, the A value for our row G is true. The rest will be false. Let's run this. So true, false, false, false. So these are some examples of selecting by index using the lack method. It's label based. Okay, we looked at several examples of how we can use the LAC method indexing on series and data frames. And in the next lecture, we look at the ILAC method, which is a position-based indexing. Thank you, everyone, and see you.